You can see this is truly a part of a tree that's rotten in the middle. Hi, I'm miltonchang of Bonsai Heirloom. Today, I will work on this tree, which about 9 months ago in the springtime, I took it out of the growing pot, which this is a big Cork Elm, and I cut it apart because the whole thing was rotten in the middle. And I divided it into 2 pieces, so I will show you the other side as well. They also become a tree, so I will have 2 bonsai. And because there were 2 branches growing, that I decided to make it this form. And I'm not going to take it out of the pot as usual to expose the roots. I'll do that much later, in a sense that in the next few years, when this tree is more established, I want the roots to thicken. Now, I did not try to clean up all of these jagged edges because you can see how the growth part heals over in a natural way. There's a very clear demarcation where this ends and where the deadwood starts and where the live part ends. So that makes a nice feature. You can see it heals over and it stops here, so it's probably going over there. And so if I, after it get some time, give it some time, I can just cut it off and follow the lifeline, and it will be really very natural looking. So I always try to follow, let nature takes its own course, so that it's a nature influence my decision rather than I impose on nature to make it what it looks like. So you can see a rotten old trunk has nice, interesting features like this little hole. You can see it's a nice little feature in your bonsai close-up. So with that in mind, then I just leave it in this pot. I don't think I have much possibility of reorientation. One possibility is to cut this off, make this the top. Let me explore that possibility, because that's kind of a long stretch. But if I cut this off, then I may have a better looking tree. So let me take a look. So I think the thing to do is cut off this part, make this the apex, and then this the lower branch, first branch, lower branch. And with that in mind, then I think I better take out of the pot to reorient it so I can do a better job. So again, I don't put anchor wire in the bottom to hold the tree because there's really no need. So it's very easy for me to take the tree out of the pot just simply by pushing. This is only done about 6-9 months ago. So you can see there's not much, and here's the mesh that keeps the soil for root pruning, and I cut it off on the top. Yeah, you can see there's much roots that's girded now by the mesh, so that there's fibrous roots on top, you see? The fibrous roots. So I don't have to repot very often, but maybe every 5-10 years even, or even longer. I'll never repot them because there will always be fibrous roots on top. You can see they all, the mesh gird the tree to form the fibrous roots on top. So let me get the soil off to see the base to design the tree. So there's not much roots for me to use to kind of provide the anchor for the design of the tree. So I'd be careful to let the little roots grow big to become the focal point of the design. You can see this is truly a part of a tree that's rotten in the middle, that's rotten at the center of the core. So now I have the freedom to orient the tree. So I can do this using this as the apex, and then this the bottom semi-cascade. Or I can use this as the apex, and then use this as the next branch, and then the cascade. So if I do that, I'll be doing this, and which would obscure a part of the trunk, the rotten part, which is interesting. But on the other hand, there's no reason to flaunt it this way, make it a little bit more mysterious by turning it this way. So I think the decision is to cut this off. Again, it's very brutal. And there's not much point in cutting above that to make it a chin, because elm tree have a tendency to heal over nicely. So that's what I'll do. I just cut this off and make this thing kind of hovering like this. So this is a serious tree, so let me make sure I'm doing the right thing. So in a pot, it would roughly look like this at the front. And then this tree, you have to kind of look down to find the hole, which is interesting, which I think it will be. And then this hole will be exposed on top, which is also interesting because it's more visible. So I think that's not a bad decision. So I will make this the apex. It will take a year to heal it over, but I think this overall will be a much better tree. So with that in mind, then I'll just cut it off. You can see it just comes right off. Yeah. So the tree will look like this. Again, I'll put a story back later after the video and show you the finished bonsai some point in time. Like this root is going the wrong direction, it wouldn't look good, so I want to pull it off. And so people ask me, how do I always such a wonderful roots? Well, that's because I pay attention to the in the early stage, in the formative stage. So you can see now this roots is going the right direction, and then there will be roots coming out this way. Everything is kind of radially out. Mash back in, it's still good. And then I'll put the tree back in the orientation roughly. Want to be about like this. So this needs to be combed out a lot more so the roots can go down. This is good soil. So this will be the tree. So in the front, if this is the front, you can see this tree comes up this way. I'll cut this off. And then coming down semi-cascade like this, like a dead tree fell on the ground and it started growing, which happens a lot. And you can see this hole in the middle. That's interesting. And then if you look at the backside, you can see this is interesting. People say, there's a little hole there. In fact, some little animal may have dug it or something. You want to be kind of able to tell a story. So I think it's going to be a marvelous tree. See that? Now, to create a little bit more depth, what I would do is I'll cut off this. And if I cut off right here, so that this branch can come out, and this can come out to fill this hole. This would go. And the same thing here, I'll probably make this the apex. Let this one comes up like this, and then clean up. So it takes me 5 minutes to clean up, and that's done. Now, earlier I point out this root was going like this, and I was going to push this one over. Well, it turns out there's a root that's coming out here. So if I do a little bit of this, pull this a little bit. And so this root will go like this, and then someday I'll come and cut this off. But in the meantime, it will be feeding the tree. And then this root would be nice and thick someday coming out like this. So maybe, in fact, just cut this off and let the bottom grow up because there will be other roots down there to become the anchor design. So with that in mind, then let me just work on the rest of the branch very quickly, and it'll be done to give you a feel for roughly what it'll look like. So this branch, for example, I cut it here, and then something will come out of here to fill this hole. So you have to think a little bit futuristically what would become, and so that you will have a nice design at the end, not so much worrying about now. So it'll be pretty bare after I'm done, but it will fill out very quickly by March. You'll be absolutely surprised by how much growth there will be. Well, that's pretty much it for now. So look at this tree. Interesting. Well, in fact, just let me cut this off. It's I don't need it. There's so much fibrous roots down there. And okay, done. With that, then, thank you, and subscribe to our channel so we can notify you of our new video that's coming up so you don't miss any good information. So thank you very much, and see you next week.